Hello, and welcome to the Balatro Zone. Recently, I have finally conquered the gold stake difficulty using the Erratic Deck, and I would like to share my thoughts on how to win with the Erratic Deck all throughout the stakes from white to gold. This video will focus on trying to reach and defeat Ante-8 only. No high scores, no endless runs, with the advice likely far more applicable and useful at higher stakes. That being said, I have only one gold stake under my belt at this time. And so understand that if you are a skilled or advanced player, some of this advice may not be useful to you. And if you think I made a mistake or missed an important detail, please do let me know in the comments below. I am always trying to find ways to up my Balatro game. First, let us talk about the Erratic Deck. This deck is quite unique and also my favorite deck of all. I made a video about why I consider it the best deck. Feel free to check it out in the description below. The Erratic Deck generates a random set of 52 playing cards where all the ranks and suits are random. This means that the starting deck you get is unlike any other deck. It is like starting with free random deck modifications. What that means is that there is another element of randomness to consider when using this deck. Some may see this as a bad thing, and for consistency and predictability, it might be. But for winning with this deck, it means you might have to look at the game from a different perspective. You need to analyze your starting deck and use that starting deck to help make all the decisions you do throughout the game. Generate 7 plus of the same rank, then focus on that rank. Generate 20 plus of the same suit, maybe you should focus on that suit. It adds more information that the player must consider when making every decision in the game. And at higher stakes, and specifically gold stake, this becomes more and more of a problem. While at lower stakes, you can maybe get away with rocking a 6 or 7 suited build. If you generate a build like that at an orange or gold stake, you will likely not be able to make it through Ante-8 using those cards. That means that every time you start a new run, you must not only consider what your deck is best able to focus on, but whatever it is, you must ascertain if that plan works long term into Ante-8. If the answer is no, you have a few options. First, you can attempt to pivot. If the stakes are low enough or you find some way to get easy deck modification, then pivoting can be a viable strategy. Though, does essentially mean you're throwing away your initial deck bonus that the Erratic Deck offers. And you are not compensated for that on any other grounds. Another option, however, is just dealing with the cards you were dealt and rocking a suboptimal deck setup. Balatro isn't so rigid that a single bad deck means you can't win. It just means that other areas of the game must cooperate a little bit more with you for you to be able to snake out a win, like having good shops and good boss luck. At the higher stakes, some builds become basically unworkable for most decks, and this is even more true for the Erratic Deck. Not just at high stakes, but kind of in general. However, at high stakes, depending on your starting deck, you might actually be able to make some of those typically off-limits builds actually work. Flush 5s, for example, are a very powerful build, but they require meticulous deck manipulation that becomes incredibly expensive to do at orange and gold stakes. But start with 10 mostly suited cards of the same rank, and with the little modifications you can do, the deck may just be workable. What I'm trying to say is that despite the Erratic Deck being far more inconsistent than any other deck, it allows builds and plays to be made at higher stakes that with other decks would normally be completely impossible. So, what is the secret to winning with the Erratic Deck? Keep a keen eye on your starting deck, and when it gives you something good, make sure you play into that. Honestly, you should just always play into what it gives you. Just expect to have a bad time, or if possible, pivot away from the bad decks which will be less and less possible at the higher stakes you're playing. And sometimes you just have to accept that you are going to have runs that you cannot win, especially with the Erratic Deck. Being good at Balatro doesn't mean you win every time, it means you win a higher percentage of the time, whatever that number may be. If you like this video and are interested in more Balatro content, please check out my entire Erratic Deck grind here on YouTube, or follow me on Twitch to catch me as I live stream my journey through the stakes of Balatro.